Anime endings. No, I'm not talking about that. I am talking about the final act of a series in which the events happening in the plot, characters, and series come to a conclusion. In other words, the ending. In my humble opinion, is by far the most important part of any anime or manga. It's the culmination of the journey that we've just gone through. It can give the entire series a sense of resolution and closure, and in some cases, can literally make or break a series. Now, this isn't anything new. A few years ago, if you told any Attack on Titan fan the way this series was gonna end, they would literally transform into Levi and proceed to beat the shit out of you. Attack on Titan is one of the most beloved series in all of anime and manga, but once people read that ending, it was like World War III in Hajime Isayama's fan mail. Between the people saying the ending was fine, and the people out for blood calling it trash and to rewrite it. He got so much hate that this man literally had to apologize in public in Anime NYC in 2022. That's how bad it got. Literally had to apologize in public to a bunch of nerds dressed up as their favorite fictional character in an anime convention. Honestly, that must have felt like the most degrading thing, if I'm being honest. And I think this is something that's not talked about enough. And no, I don't mean crazy fandoms, because that's out there. That's talked about enough. I'm talking about anime and son of a bitch. So I just wanted to take this video to just kind of discuss the different types of endings we usually see. The good, the bad, the mediocre, and the ones that leave you feeling really empty inside after finishing a series. I want to talk about them all and the effect they have as a whole. So with that out the way, let's start with... If there's one easy way for an anime to grab my attention, then it's by knowing that it's an anime original series. Firstly, because there is no source material, so it's all brand new form of entertainment, meaning we won't get those manga readers acting like a bunch of negative 50 IQ nerds telling us, oh, this is what you think is gonna happen? Poor anime only watchers, you'll never know the truth. Those pizza-faced nerds really think they're the main antagonists. And secondly, because it's not based on any pre-existing form of media, it's likely that it will have an ending that's conclusive or even better. Meaning the entire story from beginning to end was already pre-planned. Now, anime original series are definitely not common occurrences, but many shows, old and new, shine the brightest because of this fact. Code Geass, Cyberpunk Edgerunners, Vivy, Neon Genesis Evangelion, Cowboy Bebop. Now, I'm not saying the endings are why these shows stand out, but it definitely helped a lot. Something like Cyberpunk, despite its obvious plot, it stuck with me because it felt like a complete story that was already planned out with an ending in mind. That I would say goes down in the history books of one of the best endings. I was completely in awe with this series, and the ending was just the icing on the cake. The final episode felt like it was already playing with my heartstrings, and I didn't know whether to cry or be happy. The music, along with the recap of everything that happened, David dying for Lucy, the beautiful animation, Lucy making it to the moon, seeing David's face one last time, truly was a beautiful moment. That series was so good that it was my favorite anime of 2022. But of course, just because something is anime original doesn't mean it's guaranteed to have a good ending. It just so happens that most of them do. But even some anime that have had conclusive endings have a reoccurring issue, because if it gets enough success and popularity, there's always a chance that the creators will want to keep it going, and because of that, we get Boruto. When it comes to love, respect, honor, and legacy, all of that means jack shit to a popular anime franchise. It doesn't matter how good or how conclusive and complete your series can be. When it's over, there's always going to be a way to retcon or pull something out of thin air or just literally resurrect the dead main protagonist to milk in some more millions of dollars for a beloved franchise that goes down in the history books as one of the best of all time. What the fuck? Definitely didn't sell your souls on that one, now did you, Bandai Namco? On the rare occasions, you get something like Die Buster, adding a new story in the same world just years after Gunbuster. But there are numerous examples of sequels coming in that not only result in a vastly inferior ending to the original series, but even going as far as completely fucking up and ruining the established canon. We went from the most perfect season 1 of Promised Neverland, a spine-chilling thriller about kids trying to escape an orphanage that turned out to be a food source for demons, to Promised Neverland Season 2. They reached the other side of the world in 11 episodes, also curing Norman's deadly cancer disease. How the fuck does that add up to 11 episodes? Darker Than Black Season 1, Chinese Electric Batman. 2, Darker Than Black Season 2, Alcoholic Dad Simulator. Now, there's a discussion to be had whether the existence of these sequels have ruined the value of the original ending, but there are a few shows that have had a pretty decent ending in the sense that they concluded everything they needed to, but they still left room for a sequel which was eventually made that didn't really live up to the original. The first Psycho Pass was so much fun to watch, brilliant ideas that no one's ever seen before and has yet to replicate, but the seasons after that just did not live up to the standard. Steins Gate still remains supreme over its sequel and movie, with neither of them really putting up much of a fight if I'm being honest. My problem with all of these is that they are examples where a sequel just wasn't needed. It's not like the seasonal anime we get now, where the storyline didn't end and the sequel continues to add and enhance the plot, but the original series did everything it was supposed to and put a full stop in it, making it hard for any sequel to capture the same magic. But you want to know what's even worse than all of that? Gone to the Winds of anime history is the type of ending I really hate the most. Anime that follow the source material up to a certain point only to diverge from it, giving it an ending that's more conclusive. This usually comes down to two reasons, either because the source material they are adapting from is still incomplete, or it's just far too long to cover in the episode count that's been given to the studio. Now, when I mean Gone to the Winds, I mean that this type of ending isn't really around anymore because it kinda dug its own grave, thank God. Akame ga Kill, Blue Exorcist, Claymore, Tokyo Ghoul. The problem with anime original endings is that when an anime tries to go a different route in order to give an ending that's more conclusive, you miss out on the proper build-up and foreshadowing to make this happen. Take Blue Exorcist for instance. Back when I first started watching anime, and my only knowledge of anime consisted of what was on Netflix, back then I had no idea how completely fucked the anime adaptation really was. They even tried to fix their fuck up by making season 2 an arc that they completely skipped even though season 1 already gave it an ending. I'm actually confused on why the fuck they thought that was a good idea. I mean, I guess you could just pretend that the final anime arc didn't happen and just continue business as usual, but the damage is already done. But occasionally, you get something like Tokyo Ghoul and its fucking cold fusion math equation on how to watch it. Tokyo Ghoul Route A, the complete anime-only sequel to Tokyo Ghoul, aka Tokyo Ghoul Season 2. Not to be confused with Tokyo Ghoul Re Season 2, which is the second season of Tokyo Ghoul Re, the sequel season to Tokyo Ghoul, because Tokyo Ghoul Route A, aka Season 2, doesn't follow the manga, so that makes Tokyo Ghoul Re the canon second season of Tokyo Ghoul, except Tokyo Ghoul Re, aka canon second season, doesn't immediately continue the events of Tokyo Ghoul Season 1. I mean, why the fuck not? At this point, you've already dropped the entire series. So instead, it continues from Tokyo Ghoul manga, obviously, which was never fully adapted into an anime, which makes that all really easy to follow. So if you're an anime only watcher, it's actually pretty simple. I'll even explain it to you again. All you need to do is watch the Tokyo Ghoul anime, then read the Tokyo Ghoul manga, and completely forget about the anime's very existence. The only anime ending that at the time people actually thought was good was the original Full Metal Alchemist, because it followed the source material up to the point where they actually just couldn't cover because the manga was still ongoing. Then they just diverged, making it into their own ending. At that time, people were actually pretty content with that, considering the manga was still ongoing, but ever since Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, that just remakes the entire series, giving us an ending that majority seem to agree that was much better than what we actually got, and this is why I feel like you just don't see this type of ending anymore. If you diverge from the source material, it's very hard to make something satisfactory, even if you make it conclusive, because fans seemingly would much rather be left hanging than given a conclusion that sucks absolute dick. Which is why, at the end of the day, you should just tell me what you want. The most common thing in all of anime. Do you know what that is? We see an interesting setup to a story or world, a major arc or two happens, and just as you start to feel that you have started on a journey that is going to be so much fun to watch, and you can't wait to see what it offers, It ends, and then you never hear from it again. Roll credits. If you're an anime fan, you probably experience this a lot, especially in the short, hard-hitting seasonal anime culture. More than not, I just feel like the anime were made as a glorified advert for the source material. I mean, that's exactly what season 1 of Classroom of the Elite was. It was so common for animators to just drop an entire series and be like, yeah, let's just roll the credits and hope no one cares. Everyone cares. The original Berserk, the original Hunter x Hunter, High School of the Dead, Batum, these just ended right in the middle of a story arc with story threads up in the air before just stopping dead in its tracks. No conclusion, no promise of another season, just straight to the credits. I mean, Berserk didn't just stop right in the middle of a story arc, but in the most important moment of the entire fucking series. The most shocking, scarring turn of events that literally destroyed a man, leaving him bleeding tears of blood, screaming in anger and frustration, leaving him in a state of shock, betrayal, completely mind-fucked at the events that just unfolded before his eyes. And that was just me. I can't even imagine how Guts felt. Back then, fans would have literally sold their souls to the God Hand if it meant seeing what happens next. And little did we know that 20 years later, we would get our wish. Yeah, I bet whoever sold their soul asked for a refund after witnessing this monstrosity. Yeah, we got our wish. But who the fuck made a deal with the God Hand to make this wish come true? At least nowadays, seasons are more carefully planned out so that the audience can get some form of closure. But still, if you're an anime fan for a while now, you've gotten used to the feeling for waiting for a season 2 or 3 that may or may never come. Bleach fans that were there since day 1 had to wait 10 long years just for the final 1,000-year Blood War arc to be animated. I'm still waiting on another Naruto Shippuden episode to be released where it turns out that Boruto is a Tsukiyomi dream. No Game No Life, Dororo, a Berserk adaptation we can be proud of. Or countless other shows, if you're lucky, you may get another season. Or I guess a shitty movie that no one asked for. But even then, will it come close to completion? Not likely. Part of the anime and manga culture is that we get an anime adaptation when we get a hot title, and that rarely ever happens after a title has already ended. On very rare occasions, you get something like Devilman Crybaby, an adaptation to a very old title that finished. But more often than not, you find yourself finishing an anime, and when you catch up to the manga, the story is still at least a few years from completion. It's definitely a love-hate relationship. One thing I love about the medium of anime is just how many new shows with massive variety we constantly get. But the downside of that, as an anime fan, you get used to being introduced to stories, characters, and worlds in which you know in your heart that you're probably never going to see the ending of. And honestly, I think that's kind of a shame because to me, a lot of the anime that have stuck in my mind years after they finished are the ones that have an end. Now you're probably wondering why I felt the need to make a whole video about anime endings. That's simply because I just wanted to express how much I value a great ending. While I don't think every series needs a great ending or even a proper one, for it to be a fantastic series, the ones that do have one, I never forget. Before Cyberpunk Edgerunners, I really do think I took endings for granted. While yes, I could recognize a good ending from a bad one, I mean, what idiot can't? I didn't recognize the effects that an ending would have on the series and its audience after completion. To me, Cyberpunk took me on a roller coaster of emotions throughout the entire series, but most of the time I felt honestly really sad about all these phenomenal characters slowly dying off one after another, and that last episode really hit me where it hurt. But at the same time, I was just happy and smiling like an idiot with the biggest grin on my face when I saw Lucy make it to the moon where she would see David's face one last time. Add that song in the background and I felt like bawling my eyes out once those credits rolled. That's a truly great ending. So good that I think it's tied with Code Geass for best anime ending of all time. Now, well over a decade later, when I think back to Code Geass, with the second season in mind especially, I don't remember the complete mess it was at times. The complete flip-flopping of characters that suited whatever the plot needed or whoever the fuck this guy was. Do you guys remember the pizza episode? Or even the cat episode? No. I remember season 2, episode 25. I remember Lelouch's sacrifice. I remember the look on his face as he just got stabbed by his best friend. I remember the trumpets of Matter Sky blaring as they explained Zero's requiem. Goosebumps running up and down my spine. jaw wide open, eyes not even blinking, as I just realized, holy shit. Everything had a point. Everything was leading up to this one moment, and feeling a sense of awe, jubilation, sadness, emptiness, all at once as those credits started rolling. And that's the power of a great ending. It's the bittersweet void that tells you that the journey is over. As much as you loved the path you took to get here and never wanted it to end, the fact that it did makes it more special. And you wouldn't have it any other way. Because yes, sometimes it is about the journey, not the destination. But when you have a breathtaking destination, it can give you even more meaning to that journey and make the entire voyage you just took that much more extraordinary. Nowadays, so much effort is put into the beginning of a story. With so much anime competing for your attention every season, it's all about how to make the highest impact as fast as possible. How to immediately stand out around so many other titles. But to me, it's the ending that sticks with you. There have been plenty of anime with great beginnings that slowly fizzle out and get forgotten. But I have never forgotten an anime with a great ending. It wraps up everything the story was trying to say, allowing me to reflect on the anime as a whole, and ultimately make peace with the fact that it's complete. Because if you end an anime right, it can be a moment you'll never forget.
Bang.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. I'm not gonna lie, as I was typing out this script, there were a few times I thought I was gonna start crying just from talking about Cyberpunk and Code Geass endings. That's how sad this shit got. But seriously, thank you guys so much for clicking on this video. I appreciate all the love and support you guys have been giving me so far. It means the absolute world to me. That's all I have for you guys today, so let me end the video by saying this. No matter what, all good things must come to an end. And I'll see you guys later.